Welcome to the official London Photography Tours. My name is Luke, and today in this vlog we're going to be talking about shutter speed, ISO and aperture. We also have a really cool infographic at the end of this vlog, so please scroll down and use it as a cheat sheet. Before we start talking about ISO, aperture and shutter speed, let's first talk about exposure. What is exposure? Exposure is a technical term used by photographers to describe how light or dark a photo will look. If a photo is overexposed, it's going to come out too light, and if it's underexposed, it's going to come out too dark. Every photographer strives to obtain the perfectly exposed shot. Now, how do we know if our photo is going to be perfectly exposed? Well, through most DSLR cameras have an inbuilt light meter. If we look through the viewfinder or the back of the LCD display screen, you'll see something like this. This is what the light meter looks like in a Nikon, and this is what it looks like in a Canon. When we take a photo, we want the light meter to be here in the middle. If it's overexposed on the Nikon, it'll be on this side, and underexposed, it'll be here. Canon is exactly the same, but this is the overexposed indicator, and this is the underexposed indicator. So we know about light meters, we know about exposure. How do we get the perfectly exposed shot? Well, there's three settings we can use on our camera. Aperture. Aperture is the hole inside your lens. The bigger the hole, the more light that comes through. The smaller the hole, the less light that comes through. We rate aperture in f values. f1.4 is considered a large hole, where f22 is considered a very small hole. I always relate aperture like the human eye. If I walk into a low lit area, my pupil in my eye gets larger to allow more light in. If I'm in a very bright area, it will restrict in size to reduce the amount of light coming into my eye. And the camera lens is exactly the same. If my photo is underexposed and too dark, so if it's reading here or here on my light meter, then I need to increase the size of the hole. If my photo is overexposed or too light, so it says it here or here on my light meter, then I need to decrease the size of the hole to get a perfectly exposed shot. Okay, so that's just one way of getting a perfectly exposed shot. There's two other ways as well. Let's have a look at these now. Okay, every DSLR camera has an inbuilt shutter. A shutter is two curtains that opens up and allows the light in. So the light passes through the lens, and then the shutter opens, and then it hits the sensor in the back. Now we can determine how long or how fast we want to have the shutter open for. We rate the shutter in values of seconds. 30 seconds is considered a slow shutter speed. 1,000 seconds is described as a very fast shutter speed. I imagine the shutter speed once again like the human eye, but this time with my eyes shut, I open my eyes for a set amount of time, the light comes in, it gets processed by my brain, then I see an image. This is exactly how the shutter works on a digital camera. Now, if my photos are underexposed, so they're too dark, then my shutter speed is too fast, or I'm blinking my eyes too quickly. Now, if I slow down my shutter speed, or slow down the speed that my eye opens and closes, then it allows more light into the camera. Once again, if I look at my light meter and it's overexposed, then I need to speed up my shutter. So I need to make my shutter speed open faster. This is how I obtain my perfectly exposed shot. Now there's another way we can do this, and this is by using ISO. What is ISO? ISO indicates the sensitivity of the sensor inside your camera. So the light passes through the lens, while the shutter is open, it'll hit the sensor. We do this in the ISO numbers. ISO 100 is considered very unsensitive, whereas ISO 3200 is considered very sensitive. I always look at ISO as like a pair of sunglasses. When I go out on a summer's day, I wear my darkest sunglasses to restrict the amount of light that's entering to hit my eyes. Now, if the day is slightly overcast, then my dark sunglasses are too dark, so I use my slightly less tinted sunglasses to allow more light to come in. But both of these are going to be way too dark if I'm out at night time. So I'll put on my trendy black rimmed spectacles. This allows the maximum amount of light to come into my eyes so I can see. This is exactly how it works for your camera. So if you take a photo and you look at your light meter and it's too dark, then you've got your darker sunglasses on, then you need to change to a lighter pair. So I need to increase the number to make it more sensitive. If my photos are too overexposed or too light, then I can take off my spectacles and put my darker sunglasses on. This is exactly how your camera works. It's very simple when you get your head around it. I always go by the principles of lighter and darker and try and forget too much about the numbers. I hope this all makes sense, and please have a look at our infographic and please message us on the comments below. Until next time, have fun taking photographs. Take care. Bye bye.